Who's the mystery guest?
Make sure your video. No, it's friends
Yeah,
in my room playing
wish
games. Stop
should
streams.
have got Jack on.
Okay, well I guess we're streaming, but it's not recording.
One sec. I can check it out. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We're live on
Yeah.
everything too. We're live on Mixer, Twitch, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook.
No way.
Yeah,
We're like multi-platform in it now.
yeah, I got this
No way.
this website that sort of shoots it out to everywhere. So, and it shows
Live
me
from Truth Towers.
and it shows me the chat from all of them in one too. So,
No
yeah.
way.
So we are everywhere. So what's going on? I hear nationalism is rising in Europe.
No, it's not. Not according to the headlines. It's not. It's all a misunderstanding.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Farage didn't win. Apparently, that's what
Real?
they're all saying. Farage hasn't won. Hasn't all gone on for Farage. It's a big win for Remain. A big win for Remain. And like, everyone's like, "What planet are you on, guys?" What planet are
Honestly,
you on?
that's it's funny
They
because
delayed the. I think they delayed the. They just didn't mention the elections during the build-up. They were talking about the Indian elections on Friday during the actual election build-up, and then on last night they delayed the results by ages. Just kept delaying it,
that's
and
so
then after
funny.
they released it, and they were like, "Farage hasn't done a whitewash. It's clear that everyone wants to remain. It's clear that people don't want a no-deal Brexit. It's clear that we need a second referendum. It's clear that Theresa May did a great job."
And you know what's funny about all of this is it does tie into this email I got. So remember I
Well, hang on,
told
before you do,
okay.
gotta tell you how it all started. So
Okay.
on Friday, Theresa May's gone.
Yeah, I saw she resigned.
My brother's not gonna have Secret Service hanging around anymore. It's not gonna have people lurking around in the trees. That's
Right?
good news for the Leffers household. Yep, Mumsy's pleased with that. So, basically, she tried to hang on, and then they threw her out. But the only reason she's staying till next week, I reckon, is because fucking Trump's coming.
Yeah,
She has to stay. She's only got her job for another week because of Trump.
that's funny.
Why else would they? Why else would she be holding on until the
He's so good with employment that he's even keeping around failed British politicians.
10th? Yeah, and it's like imagine if he came in and we didn't even have a prime minister.
You know what's funny about
Imagine
that?
the field day he would have.
I don't know if I ever mentioned it on here, but there was a point where Alec Baldwin, the guy who basically plays Trump on SNL, he put out some tweet, and I made a similar remark where I said Trump is so good with employment, he even gives D-list actors jobs impersonating him. And I made like a funny remark being like the only relevancy this guy has is pretending to be someone he claims to hate. Blocked by Alec Baldwin. So that's
Yeah, so
my
Theresa May is going to get humiliated by Trump. I
yeah.
mean, Trump's going to turn up and just offer to do us a Brexit deal. He's going to go like, guys, I'm here for a couple of days. You want me to sort this out? And he's just going to mock us.
Yeah.
So that is like, so I think we had Tony Blair. He was elected. So going all the way back to Tony Blair, I think it's our last elected prime minister. It's fucking ages ago. So Gordon Brown, he wasn't technically elected. David Cameron was in a coalition. People forget because Cameron was running the show, but that was a coalition. So that's not technically elected. And he jumped ship, he got out of it and bundled Theresa May and she went elected. So we haven't had an elected prime minister in quite some time now. And now it looks like we're going to have another unelected. They're going to put Boris in. I don't know why people trust Boris all of a sudden.
Boris Johnson?
So, yeah. I think they should just give it to Farage, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You
And
know
it was funny at work, because at work, all the trendies were like going, oh, it's the election. I started reading up on the parties last night. It's like, what the fuck?
People are
You read
dumb.
up on it last night. What are you on about?
People are.
I go, who you vote? He goes, I don't mind who people vote for as long as it's not UKIP or the Brexit Party. I'm like, I'm 100% going Brexit Party, and UKIP want me to talk for him. So, put that in your
Right.
smoke it. Right, and he goes, I voted Liberal Democrat. And I was like, all right, what policy on there grabbed your attention? He goes, I don't know really. All right. I'm like, are they just being wizards? Like, how can you be a liberal and a Democrat? Can't be both.
That's what it is. It's wizardry. All right, let me get into this email I got. So, my mom's friend.
Explain to me how you can be a liberal and a Democrat.
I'm gonna one up you on this, Paul. I have a better one to throw your way.
I couldn't figure it out myself.
No,
like,
but listen to this. I got this email, right? Now, I didn't realize at the time because, she gave me that book and I sent her an email just basically demolishing the left, being like, this is a party of hate. It's divide.
Yeah, that email didn't help.
It's divide and conquer. Well, she didn't even respond to it. Like, she just wrote me back writing past it and bringing up, Russian collusion isn't something to dismiss. And, Trump said there were good people on both sides of Charlottesville and all of this other. And it's like just nonsense, fake news stuff. So anyway, I didn't see those at first. I saw this new one before I saw those older replies. This new one, though, is just like, here's an article. I hope it's okay to send to you. It made me think of you. So I'm reading this article. It's a New York Times opinion piece. And it's basically about how the Democrats should run their election strategy and should push, the idea of liberal democracy. Now, it says right in this article, I'm not going to bother pulling it up and quoting it because I pretty much remember exactly what it says. It says, nationalism is the abdication of liberalism. Nationalism is bad, but patriotism is good, and that the two are opposites. And that's the premise.
You can't have one without the other.
Exactly. That's the premise this entire article is based on, though, is that you can somehow be a patriot and be against nationalism. Now, my response to this email, originally I wrote a giant rant, and then I said, you know what? This doesn't deserve this. I said, this is what my response is going to be. The dictionary definition of nationalism that has synonym patriotism. I said, your whole article is based on the presumption that these two things, which are the same, are actually opposites. I said, this is grade A con artistry, this is wizardry, and this is ridiculous. I said, this is my whole problem with the left, is this, we're going to change around the meanings of words like we're sociopaths so that it just means what we want it to mean, and then we can have it mean something else for someone else. Like, yeah, you can't have the one without the other. You can't be a patriot without being a nationalist. But the left, especially older people like this woman, they want it to be this way so that they can feel as if they aren't against America while thinking they're supporting America. Because even I bring up some of the issues to my mom, and my mom's one of these people too. Well, I support free speech, but, and once there's a but, you don't support free speech. That's all there is to it. You can't say, I support free speech.
No. I need to give you an English. Hang on, stop. I need to give you an English lesson.
Okay.
But means but is a word that's really misunderstood. So if I say, I'm sorry, but, that means you're wiping out what you said before.
Exactly. That's my whole point, though.
It means ignore what I just said.
Yeah, and that's what these people do all the time.
That's why it's such a bad word.
I support the Second Amendment, but I support freedom of speech, but I'm, for this, but, and it's
ignore my previous statement.
Yeah, I'm a patriot, but I'm not a nationalist. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's this weird double-speak Orwellian stuff, how they trick these sort of Bill Clinton, Kennedy-esque Democrats into thinking they are pro-America while trying to destroy America. Like, it's just it's irritating and aggravating, and that's why at this point all I do is laugh at them. I just laugh at them, and I'm like, you don't even know what words mean. How you want to have a political conversation with me? Let me say a few things, and if any of them set off a light bulb, we can talk. Bohemian Grove, CFR, Bilderberg, Operation Mockingbird, Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclips. Like, if you don't at least know those, sit down. Go back to the kids' table, because I don't have time for it. Like, their level, and it's the same thing like you're saying. Oh, well, I looked into the parties last night. You don't deserve the right to vote. Like, that's, I think there should be IQ tests for voting at this rate. Because it's this whole idea of, I call it fashionable politics.
Yeah, and I've got to have a bit of a rant a minute. I've got to have a rant. Jamie, you need help.
I need help?
Yeah, you need my help. Like, what are we doing? Like, is this turned into the Jamie's email rants? Or what?
No, it's just, I mean, this is just my interactions with leftists at this point, because I just don't even bother with
but
them.
No one gives a fuck about it. We're talking about the European elections, you flipping.
Well, the only reason why I correlate it is because
you better get it back on track, mate.
Well, the reason why I correlate it is because, you know, it's one of these things, though, in places especially like England, where you have a rise in nationalism, and I'm sure there are people that are doing the same thing. Oh, well, you know, I'm a British patriot, but I think we should stay in the EU. I guarantee you there's people that think they're pro-Britain, but think Britain should be a part of the Union.
Britain's a bad thing.
Yeah. Because nationalism is supposedly the new bad word. And it's mind-boggling to me how nationalism has this dirty connotation, but socialism no longer does.
Yeah, they start like saying there's like why are you going for Farage? I was like, it's only been a party for 6 weeks and it's gonna win. It's gonna storm it like you've never seen. They're gonna get more votes than Labour and Conservative combined.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the worst year ever for Conservative, the worst year, in 200 years for Labour. And they were laughing at me going, it hasn't been a party for 5 weeks. It's like, you might want to Google that, and then they Googled it and it's like, oh, okay, maybe it is.
Well, when I saw,
it's like, why are you laughing? You can't get that within 5 weeks.
When
When
I saw that, you know what I thought? The thing you were telling me about your interaction with Jack about the single politics or whatever, and you were so right though. Is there are people that vote, you know, in America especially, they vote based on abortion. Yeah, I noticed that.
Got white completely obliterated.
And they were trying so hard.
I didn't even really see any campaigning from the Brexit Party at all.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I saw tons of stuff from YouTube, from UKIP.
Yeah, I'm Jack, and you can't have a single policy party because Farage won't take me. Just say that. Don't give us this shit that Farage is somehow out to get us all.
Yeah.
Because you can't get. I feel sorry for it. Like, I'd have him in a party, but it's not going to happen. So why did it? I mean, surely must have. How did he not see the UKIP thing coming, crashing? How could you not see that crash?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is that I think happened realistically is I think the media spent so much time focusing on people like Sargon and UKIP and stuff like that they essentially acted as a shield for Farage. Like, they were spending so much time trying to take out UKIP and make sure UKIP didn't go anywhere that they practically ignored the Brexit Party and Farage.
Maybe that's the whole plan. It'd be devious if it was.
Yeah, brilliant if it was.
Even at work,
but
I was like saying, "Oh, Tommy Robinson's running." You're like, "No, he's not. Tommy Robinson isn't running." I'm like, "Guys, he is running. He's running for Oldham. He's going, but Oldham's Muslim. He can't be running for Oldham." It's like, that's why.
Yeah.
So yeah, the level of stupidity around people I work with, none of them like Trump. They all go on about how bad Trump is. Trump is bad, he's racist. It's like, what's he said that's racist? What policies don't you like of Trump's? Obama was better.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I even was telling my mom this morning because again in one of those emails the person said to me about Bernie Sanders. They said Bernie Sanders socialism isn't the same as Hitler's. Hitler's had a fascist face. Whatever that means. Like really. But one of the points I made is I said if you take Hitler's 25-point plan for Germany, it's free higher education, agricultural revolution, healthcare for all, and like if you read this off at any DNC rally, you'd get a roaring ovation. And I said I would have more respect for people if they said Hitler was right about the socialism stuff, but he was completely wrong on the racial superiority stuff. If someone at least made that distinction, I would respect their honesty. But when people try to say, no, Hitler was wrong about everything, he was completely wrong, his socialism wasn't real socialism, but your written policies are exactly the same, now you just look like a liar. So it's like this whole game the left plays over here with, all the word stuff. I'm telling you, Paul, it gets under my skin. As someone who loves writing and language and stuff like that, this manipulation of words and meanings, it's so irritating to me. That's not socialism. This is real socialism. It's like, if you're having such a branding problem, maybe you should just find a new...
Yeah, I mean, same thing at work. They were like, once they started talking about Obama, they were going, oh, you sound like a Christian. And this is an LBGT woman. She's going, oh, I hate fucking Christians, they should all fucking die. And I was like, you've been preaching to me about how LBGT should be like inclusive, allow everyone in, be diverse. And you want to kill Christians. It's like, why have you got such a, what are Christians doing that's so bad at the moment? And she goes, well, I guess you don't support gay marriage. And I was like, yeah, I don't really support it, no. And she's going, why not? And I said, it's between a man and a woman, and it's a Christian tradition between a man and a woman. So it's got to be up to the church. I'm not saying gays can't be married. I'm saying it's got to be down to the church to make that decision. Whether they allow it or not.
Even that, I've always had the position of like...
Yeah, but they thought that marriage was like a legal thing. It's like, no.
Because it's well, see, that's the problem. Is
again, well, Hindus, they get married. I'm like, I don't think they do.
Oh,
and it's like, well, what about the Jews? They get married. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think they do. I think they have a different ceremony altogether.
Well, and see, and that's the problem, is that because of taxes, the government did get involved in the marriage business. And that's why I always said, again,
but isn't this a play on words, that marriage is now this all-round thing for Hindus, Jews, Muslims, gays? It's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's just Christians only thing.
Well, see, yes, but the thing is the play on words in the game started way before the gays were even thought in the equation. And because what it was in America, and this is what I've heard, I could be wrong, this could just be the cover story, but what it was you'd essentially have guys that would do traveling business, and they would have multiple wives in different areas, and things like that. And then when the guy died, who's getting what inheritance and everything like that. Again, this could all be bullshit that the government fed us just so they could be more intrusive into people's lives. But that's why I always said the best solution in that scenario would have been the government just completely getting out of the marriage business and saying, all we're overseeing is civil unions. Legally, we do civil unions, and the churches do marriages. And it's separate but equal. A American concept from the beginning, separate but equal.
I'm not saying you can't have a homosexual church. That's the thing. I'm just saying it's up to the church.
Yeah, I have very mixed feelings about the whole thing. Like, it's just it's so stupid though too.
And then this commie was going, "Oh, Christians are dumb because they say you can't wear different fabrics together."
What Christian says that? Where? Who? Yeah.
What cult of Christians are running around beheading people over fabric?
Right?
On about.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I can disprove Christianity. I'm like, I'd love for you to change my mind on it because I'm getting pretty hardcore into it, guys. Like, I'm spiraling on Jesus. Fucking spiraling. I'm not liking it. Like, I can own up to this.
But you know what the thing is?
They're like you. They won't let you finish your fucking sentence. But they said, he said, I can prove it with science. I was going, oh, here we go, science. Okay, right. What science have you got for me today, you little shit? And he goes,
I'm still on the spiraling on Jesus.
Goes, it's obvious, isn't it? It's the Big Bang, isn't it? The Big Bang. Right? So I said, the Big Bang, explain to me how this is science. Right? And he goes, you can see it. I can see it, can I? What are you on about? I can see it. Goes, pictures of it, pictures of Big Bang. But they don't know what came before it. But that's science. And it's expanding. I was like, you're a friggin' idiot. Like the week before, he told me the gender pay gap was real. And he was quoting the statistics I was. And then he went through it and goes, well, it seems to be the women who own companies, directors, like the high earners that are getting the pay gap. And I was going, so everyone in normal jobs, they're getting equal pay. It looks that way, but there is a gender pay gap. So 99.9% of the jobs you're saying are equal pay. Yes, but there is a gender pay gap. What, on the 0.01%? Yes, and it must be fixed. I'm like, you're a flaming retard. We had this big debate about how there's a gender pay gap, and then when he looked at the numbers, he goes, "Well, I meant to add, it's just the owners of the company, the directors, the chairman. There's not many chairmen in business." I was like, ugh. Yeah, we need to worry about the 0.001% of women that are earning a mil.
Yeah, let's.
I'm getting 1.2 mil. You're right.
Let's take off from work and put on some pussy hats and march around.
Big Bang proves it all. I was going, right, other than the Big Bang, what else you got? Because you haven't sold me on this Big Bang, right? I'm honest. I appreciate you helping.
Hold on, can I just say something? Don't you?
No, I've got to tell you this next.
Just real quick. Don't you love when someone comes to you with like the standard indoctrination, like it's a revelation or something, like like the bullshit that school tried to drill into you? Yeah. Like, whoa, bro. But it's like, I got a good one for you. You might not have ever heard this.
What the fuck?
Evolution. Yeah. I know. It's so great.
Yeah, that was his next one. How did you know? His next one's like, I'll give the Big Bang a rest.
Oh,
what about evolution? You heard of evolution? I was like, no, I've not heard of evolution. Tell me about this evolution. It's going, we came from monkeys. I'm like, when? When did this happen? It was like, 2,000 years ago.
Like, oh, who documented that? How do you know this?
I was like, you might have come from a fucking...
You right? You might have.
You might have done. I ain't come from a fucking...
Oh, man. You know what the thing I've realized is like...
And then I go, so you understand evolution? It's going, yeah, I've studied it for 3 years. I was going, alright, how did the eyeball come about? And he went, took about 40 billion years.
Oh, man.
And he's calling me an idiot, going, I don't know why you don't like Obama. And you can't explain why. Like, you can't finish your sentence. You're like, the problem with Obama was, you think, you're like Donald Trump, think his birth certificate's fake. It's like, across the board, everyone says that certificate, something's not right with it.
Photoshop layers. Like, there were layers.
Like, we don't know what's going on with this birth certificate. You ever heard of Joseph Aparo? And he's like, no, it's like, here's a sheriff that wants Obama to like explain this. It's obvious he was born in Kenya. It's like, have you read Obama's book? The very first sentence in the book, the very first thing he says about himself is he's the first Kenyan-born Harvard law student.
I know, and Kenya even put up a giant sign saying the birthplace of Obama.
Kenya still, to this day, praise Kenyan-born Obama. His brother, he's a legend.
Yeah, I know.
He ain't buying it. His wife's got packing a protein bar everywhere she goes. And they're like, Paul thinks Obama's wife is a guy. I said, I didn't say I think. I said, there's, I don't know.
Oh, I know. I mean, all the things about him, they all talked about him in the Chicago bathhouse scene. Remember Larry Sinclair testified before Congress being like, I'm in a limo, Obama's smoking crack, I'm sucking his cock. And, like, no one contested it. Everyone was just like, all right, just let him say his piece and then send him out somewhere to never be heard of again and fire up the mainstream media in overdrive. Like, oh, and anything Obama stuck his dick in, put a bullet in their goddamn head. Like, I mean, it was like you had these moms in Chicago being like, Obama had my son killed after they dated. Like, oh, it was such a mess.
Each time I try and score some goals for the Christians, they don't ever let me finish.
Yeah.
Like, the reason I like Christianity is because, but what about monkeys? Hang on, we'll get to the monkeys. And we should explain to you just quickly why I like Christianity a lot. But what about the Big Bang? And I was like, look, let me tell you about science. You've got it in your head that you're doing the same as what you criticize churches going, but what about what happened in the Roman times when they, and I was like, you mean Constantine? And he went, Constantine, yeah, he fucked with the Bible. I was going, so?
Right?
It's fucked with. Yeah, I'm not saying Christians are perfect utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, saying it's like, it's not corruptible. And I said, but you're falling for the same thing they fell for. And he was going, well, what's that? I said, well, the Christians got corrupt because they said you're a sinner and you've got to pay for your sin. What you're doing is that we've got to bow down not to the priest class, but to the science class. You're just bowing down to a white coat authority.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about science. Nothing. Neither do I. But you seem to get it in your head that because a scientist told you something, it's true.
Yeah. I mean,
The shit we were talking about was I'm really pale, and I was saying how good it was getting in the sun. And it's like, you're burn. I was like, all you got to do is stock up on nutrients before you hit the sun. Stock up on your nutrients, like hard. And then you will come out crispy brown with no burning. And again, no, you need sun cream. I was like, you don't want to be putting, no.
Yeah.
The sun's bad for you, Paul. You can't just go out in the sun. I'm like, dude, the sun is not bad for you. The sun is good for you.
Yeah.
Sun worshipping, like, just go out in this. You're in England. You shouldn't be burning in England.
Well, I mean, there's even now medical conditions called seasonal affective disorder, and it basically means like you have a sunlight deficiency. So it's like, again, how do we have this medical condition that's a sunlight deficiency, and then the sunlight is bad? It's more this whole like, yeah, the plants need CO2 to survive, but if there's CO2 here, it's gonna kill the earth, and it's like, okay, like, it's
like, you can't wear sun cream and go into the sea now. Why is that?
You can't what?
Paul's conspiracy theorist. I was like, okay, even my mum doesn't wear it. Like, you're putting chemicals onto your body.
Heavy metals.
Up in the sun.
Yeah, there's like zinc and other heavy metals in it that is not good for you.
A little bit of burn. I'll be honest, you might want to tan for put the cream on just for the first day. Just the first day, just a tiny bit, just to help you out. After that, get rid of it. But the sun's bad for you, Jamie. And then by going back to this Jesus thing, it's going, what about Horus being just like Jesus? I was like, Horus is nothing like Jesus.
Should have been like, whose cock got severed and then used to impregnate someone?
Like, you've been watching Zeitgeist, haven't you? And he's like, yeah, it's a good film. It's like, Horus.
Yeah. I mean, you know what the thing is like, this is why I have chosen the path of laughter, because like, I realize when, you know, I work in a mental health field, so I don't think it's right to laugh at people with like mental disorders and mental illnesses, but these people are choosing to have this mentally ill outlook and worldview on it. Like I said before, you know, CO2, the plants need it to survive, but we need to eliminate the CO2 emissions to save the earth because that's going to work out great for the plants. Like, what am I supposed to do besides laugh at these people and be like, you do realize what you're saying, right? Nationalism bad, but patriotism good. Like, okay, like, you have fun with whatever helps you sleep better at night because you're not even engaging with reality at this point. Like, that's what I've really realized about, like, it's sad, but it's like, mind control, that's what all this double meaning
It's the
stuff
outrage
is.
too. They don't even let you explain.
Oh yeah, they're blinded by outrage. That's
And then when you say, "Hey, I'm done with this now. It's really good talking to you. Thanks for debating me. Didn't change my mind this time, but I gotta get back to work, guys. Let's do this at lunch." They'll go, "Are you always offended? Oh, you're always offended." It's
well,
like,
see,
"Mate, I've got shit to do."
and that's the funny thing too
Not
that I
offended
noticed,
at all.
even with my mom's friend. It's all of this. Oh, would it be all right for us to talk about
Yeah.
this? Do you mind if I share this to you? Do you? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no one's having more fun than me. Why do I
Yeah,
care?
exactly.
Like, what do you think I
You
mind
think
about?
whatever you like. I don't care what you think.
Yeah, but it's a projection thing because it's like they expect us to respond like how they
Well,
do.
well, no, because then I sound big-headed. They go, "Why don't you care what people think?" It's like I do care what people think, but I care about, you got to be at least on the 130 IQ, at
Yeah.
least, for me to
Yeah.
pay any kind of attention. And you know, unfortunately, you're not close to those numbers. But what I find is I get into my weed stories, but I'm working in the cannabis community. I'm in pretty deep. I can talk really wild, go really, really deep, and a lot of them are way more open to it. Like they
Oh
don't agree with
yeah.
it at first, but they let you finish your sentence. They
Yeah.
throw out reasonable questions. They don't
Well,
insult you.
here's one of the things, and honestly, I've noticed this even at with coworkers of mine at the one
That's why
job.
I'm a bit of a legend at this cannabis place, because I learned it from like Stefan Molyneux and Stephen Crowder, but I'm quite good at trying to change people's minds on things.
Let me tell you, the politics surrounding marijuana, its medical applications, and the suppression of that is one of the biggest red pills to liberals and normies ever. Because
That's why I think it takes for someone to wake up. Like I can keep telling you till I'm blue in my face until you have an experience where government lied to you or mistreated you. You will
yeah,
never be red pilled.
when
Never.
when people are seeing documentaries that the medical community knew in the 70s that marijuana helped against cancer, and they're like, why has this been suppressed for 30, 40 years? And it's like, because of big farmer, not big farmer, big pharma, because of, collusion with insurance agencies and everything like that. Yes, there's natural cures for damn near everything, but who's that make millions for? No one. Like, and
We've
it's such a red pill for people.
We've got 1,000 people at an event. We've got marquees. We've got food stalls, like professional food stalls. We've got toilets. We got everything. And then we've got like 10 different like vendors, coffee shop kind of things. We've got like merchandise stuff. So I'm working on a stall, and like, I'm selling the Cali weed there. And you get to talk to everyone, but you're talking to rival drug dealers, like all that, who are meant to be rivals all the time, and you're just chilling out at each other's coffee shop, like rivals, just talking. We're just doing trades, swapping bits back, and like, and like the drug trade's meant to be this really dangerous place, but you go there and you realize everyone's buddies, everyone's sharing customers. It's like, I'll meet this customer, like because it's a UK event, so all I want my southern crowd to go and check out the other stalls. Like you've
Yeah.
worked out what You already know what we've got.
I've always loved that about pot dealers is there's never the concern about stepping on people's toes. Like it's always just like, oh yeah, you want to get what you want to get from them.
Around.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
So yeah, it's just amazing. Like we don't see any 1,000 people at an illegal drug trade show. There isn't anything close to an argument. There are rivalries, and they're able to just keep themselves separated.
Yeah.
So everything's good in the hood, and you just think you go to London with certain communities, and they're just stabbing each other left, right, and centre.
Speaking of
doing the same trade.
Speaking of rivalries and keeping things separate and everything like that, I figure
we have photos together, like rivalries. They're having photos on Instagram together, going, "Here, big up to this guy, big up to this guy." You know, get your orders here. Share. We want to make a great community first.
You know what?
You don't need to dominate the market. Like the market's so giant.
And I want to say, and I think it just leads into a point that you and me have discussed before, so I don't want to go too much on this email stuff that I had got, but one of the points made in it was this. Trump's outright support for authoritarian leaders like Duterte in the Philippines, Orban in Hungary, and Putin in Russia. Now, whenever you've brought up the foreign affairs things, I'm very much on the, because I'm a nationalist, fuck Syria and fuck all of that. Like, I want America in order before I even look out elsewhere. But I don't understand, like, this, like, sort of like how you're saying, like, you can have people that get along. Like, I don't know why people don't apply, like, playground mentality to global politics, where it's like there can be a bully or two on the playground, but that doesn't mean you have to organize the kids to go beat up the bullies. Like, you can just, hey, how's it doing? Don't mess with me. I won't mess with you, and keep your distance. Like, but it's so interesting to me when I have a liberal claiming to be liberal send me something like this and say, here's a bad guy in the Philippines, here's a bad guy in Hungary, here's a bad guy in Russia. And my question to that is, so what do we do? Do we invade? Do we take over? Do we remove them from their position? Because when I was a liberal, we were against that. So when you give me a list of global bad guys and are like, I have a problem with Trump being all right with these guys. Like, maybe he's not all right, but maybe he's just trying to have détente. Like, you can't be, like, it's the weirdest thing to me, where it's like, I don't know what these people are getting at and what they want him to do. And because I can't imagine these people being like, well, he should bomb all of them. Like, but Obama was dropping bombs every day and no one batted an eye at it, so maybe. But I just don't get it. Like, it's like the Kim Jong-un thing. Like, when he's, like, bucking up to him and being like, I have a bigger red button, CNN is pulling their hair out, screaming about thermonuclear war. Then next thing you know, they're getting along fine, and they're like, he sucks up to dictators, and he's too friendly with authoritarians. And it's like, wait, I thought you just said we were all gonna die, and now they're too nice with one another? Like, what is it? What is the winning move here? And it's like, but it's basically like how you're saying, like, you can have a setting, like one of these pot things, and there can be two people that have beef that can just be like
1,000 people at this place, man.
Yeah.
And we've got all these different vendors, all these drug deals going down. We've got hundreds of thousands of pounds exchanging. No one's getting robbed. No, there's no one even.
Yeah.
Like, the other thing is, if you drop something there, like, the amount of stuff that I've seen get picked up and handed back is insane, because people are stoned as fucking leaves lying around, and all of it gets fucking returned.
And you know what the sad thing is in my local city, we have no nightlife as far as venues or clubs or anything like that, because people couldn't handle doing that. And, like, I would tell people all the time, because, again, predominantly black areas, so you'd have, like, two to three big hip-hop events every summer. Like, they'd book some rapper at some club, And every single time, there would be a shooting. But the thing I would try to tell people is, it's not that it's a hip-hop event. It's not that it's, this or that. The problem is, this is a...
Yeah, we're already breaking the law, guys, like, big time. We don't need any fucking heat.
Yeah, right? Well, but our problem would literally be that it is a 2 mile by 2 mile city, and that this was just the first big event that everyone was at. So you naturally would have two people that already had problems. Like, it would have went down in the grocery store if the two dudes that were beefing ran into each other at the grocery store. But it just happened to be the concert because it's not like there's a weekly thing going on. It's just a once every 3 months. So someone has beef from April, and on June 7th there's a concert. They run into each other. That's where it's going down. Like, but the thing is,
the other thing, it's all private, so you can be very selective. It's very hard to get in.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be in the in crowd to begin with, so it's very hard for the wrong people to get in.
Yeah, that's definitely good to have it that way.
You can't just go and buy a ticket, really. So, but the main thing, like, I don't know if you can tell, like, I'm a lot happier now, like, having a social group. Because if you're not into drinking in England, like, what do you do socially on a Saturday, Friday night? And now I've got like a coffee shop to hang out at. I've got expos to go to, meeting people all around the country, all around the local area. Like, being social again is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and especially if it's like, especially
like, I used to just have one dealer where I used to just get whatever he had. Now I've got, I can pick weed from California, Colorado, extract.
Yeah.
Cheaper.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and plus the whole thing is, again, at a bar, it's like you're just sort of all there because it's the place to be. It's social interactions are always better based on like a common purpose. Like I always find that with musicians, where it's like I can get along good with musicians, and I mean, there are handfuls of my musician friends where it's like we're the only ones where like we could have completely different politics and disagreements on it, and we would still be like, I respect him so much as a drummer. I don't give a fuck if he wants to suck Michelle Obama's dick. Like, it would be like, whatever. Like, his politics or whatever, he's a good artist. And that respect for people's craftsmanship comes before whatever their political views are, because your political views can change, but your talents, those are yours.
It's just such a generous place as well. Like, I got a lift all the way up there. We were smoking like extracts on the way down, these little dab boxes. And I set up the stall, and then the guys next to us, they were like, "Oh, eat this cake." They're like giving me cake, which one of the highlights. That cake was one of the highlights of my day. Fucked me up. And then they're like, "Eat these gummy bears." I'm eating these gummy bears. And then they're like, "Check out this weed we've got." And they're bringing out all these beautiful strains, like just really well grown. Like, some of the best I've seen, like bubblegum, sour diesel, just like the real favourites. Before I've even set up, like, I'm wasted on the other guy's products, it's like showing them off. Then the other store comes on, showing off their products. I'm like, dude, I'm fucked.
That's
I'm not trying to
funny.
stay awake.
That reminds me of like when I used to do recording with rappers and stuff, where it'd just be blunt after blunt after blunt, and like at some point we'd just be like, why are we doing this? Like, and it's just like habit, where it's like, all right, we're in between each session for every song, someone's rolling up, and it's like by the end of it you're just like, what did I do to myself? This was unnecessary. Like, but part of it with that is that because of the tobacco leaf of the cigars, I think a lot of people don't realize. I knew a girl who picked up on this, where she was like, I'm addicted to the nicotine in the tobacco leaf. Like, where it was almost like a sort of wanting to smoke a cigarette thing, but she would just do it with weed instead. It was because of what it was rolled up in.
Yeah, you gotta be careful of that,
Yeah.
Oh man, I was absolutely loving it. And I was eating all the chocolates that we had. And then we've got like everything. They've even got these little things we just put a little drop under your tongue for the extract's that strong. Some Rick Simpson oil was going around. My coffee, getting coffees made for me, which are clearly rigged to the max. It's just insane. Yeah, I get so high, it actually gets spiritual at times. By the time I get home, I have like proper spiritual moments. I'm just so high and had so much fun as well. Like no one's giving you shit. No one's like going, yeah, you're wrong. Why don't you believe this? Why don't you believe that? Like even people you're complete opposites with, you're able to at least find a lot of common ground. And a lot of them come back to me if their minds change. Like weed smokers are quite open. They'll come back to me the next week and go, oh, sorry I gave you a hard time on that. I've like thought about it and I've changed my mind. I'm like, good for you, bro. You joined the cult.
Nah.
Yeah, it looks like Macron also won
Yeah.
the election, right?
Wait, Macron?
But,
I thought Le Pen was winning.
oh, Macron, I get confused. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Le Pen. And at Greece, they had breaking news that they need to like, they're in just the same thing, like the right one on there. So they're having like a flash election or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's so.
So I think this is actually now the end of Europe. I think if England does pull it on, it happens to be Halloween, remember? Told you Halloween. I remember that Halloween. That's the next date. But I think, I don't want to bore people, but I think legally it's a scam. I think we're already out the EU.
I don't think you were ever
I
fully
think
in.
legally we are already out because we triggered Article 50. And once we triggered Article 50, we never actually did the proper, any kind of proper protocols in order to do an extension. Because an extension after extending, well, even doing it is pretty ridiculous after launch, doing Article 50. To then be able to do an extension without any public vote, without any EU vote, and still being part of the EU election sounds like bullshit to me. I think we're out.
Yeah.
And
Well, part of it too, like I was saying, is you guys kept your currency, so it's like you weren't even in as deep as half these other places. But I'm telling you, it's so funny seeing these leftists trying to fight nationalism while also trying to like save face and make it seem as if they aren't working against the nations they want to take power over. And it's like, I mean, in that article that got sent to me that, patriotism good, nationalism bad thing, the most mind-boggling thing about all of it is the two historical figures it referenced. Now, mind you, this is an article talking about the strategy the Democrats should run on in America. The two historical figures they referenced were Abraham Lincoln, the founder of the Republican Party, and Frederick Douglass, who was a very outspoken Republican who claimed the Republicans were the party of progress. So it's like, how are you writing this article saying nationalism bad, patriotism good, and we should model ourselves after Republicans to defeat the it's like I don't understand the mind fuck that is. I mean, I do understand it, but it's like I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just so aware of things where it's like you give me this shit and I'm just like, have you seen a dictionary? Because I think we should establish what words mean. Like, it's like like you were saying, it's like if
that's what most of the debate is these days. It's like before I even get to debate, it's defining terms.
Yeah.
Words, because
the
words they're using don't match.
Yeah, exactly. Because even in the one email it says, well, I think we have different definitions of what liberal means.
No.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly.
There's only one definition. Someone's got it right. Someone's got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one definition, and let me tell.
They're not giving you the definition as well.
Well, see, and that's the other thing in the article is that it didn't. And now you would think if something came out and made a statement like that you would explicitly define both of them and make your case for it. But instead it was just an assertion and then it ran from there, saying that things that by definition are the same are complete opposites, and then it's just a running babble. But then it's like, again, okay, so what? The best plan to being a liberal is actually being like Republicans, and you're going to defeat the Republicans by being like that? Like, I mean, I guess I welcome that, but no. Like, and again, I think it's real interesting, like you said, it's so simple. If someone uses the phrase, but, disregard what they just said. I'm for free speech, but, okay, you're not. Like, it's that simple. Like, and it's the funniest thing. You're for free speech, but not what? Oh, well, hate speech. Okay, then what type of speech should be protected? Well, what type of speech is allowed then? The speech that doesn't bother anyone, that doesn't need protection? Like, how ridiculous. I mean, I'll tell you what, it makes me happy that these people are never going to get back in power.
But however, it's just a polite way of saying but.
Yeah. You know what I did want to mention, because I discovered her last week. Have you seen this stuff about Soph? The 14-year-old YouTuber girl?
Nah.
Oh my god.
I've heard only from Owen, but I don't know what it's about.
You gotta look her up. Her videos are hysterical. It's so funny, some of them, and yet she has such a grip on a lot of this stuff. And I just think it's amazing that the same guy, like, I sent him a thank you message on Twitter because I didn't know who Sam Hyde was until this guy wrote his outrage piece, and then it's the same guy who wrote about her. I had no idea who she was until the outrage thing. And these, like, you almost would question, you're like, are you an operative for the right wing? Because you do more promoting than hurting. Like, you don't see the unintended consequences of the actions, where it's like, we need to shut this person down, and next thing you know, their subscribers just went up by 250,000. Like, but yeah, that girl has some extremely funny content. Like, and that's why they have to shut her down, because she's not just ranting or giving commentary. She's doing, like, satirical skits and parodies and, like, comedy content.
I'm not really, like, either way, I'm not going to comment or watch anyone that's 14.
Huh?
It's willing to know. Because I'm not going to watch or comment on anything from a 14-year-old.
I can understand that.
They're 14.
Yeah. I can see your point with that. Well, I think, like you said, you know, you mentioned Owen, and I was listening to Owen talk about, and it might have been the same clip, where he was talking about him and, I think it was Devin Stack from the Black Pill channel or something, and Devin or one of them made the point where he said, you know, 100 years ago, 14-year-olds would be, like, fighting in battle and stuff like that. Like, it's not as young as you're making it out to be, but, like, I do understand, because here's...
But they're thinking of extending a teenager to, like, 25 and stuff. Like, people are just getting more and more juvenile.
Arrested Development, yeah.
Arrested Development, yeah.
Yeah, but, I can see your point, because it's like, because even this case was made to me this morning, is, you know, you can't be saying 14-year-olds can't have a platform and stuff like that. Also saying 14-year-olds should be able to vote. So it's like, if we're taking the stance that 14-year-olds shouldn't be allowed to vote like the left wants kids voting and stuff, well, then we should kind of, you know, set their opinion off to the side for a bit. Like, I understand the case for that. I still think the content this girl's put out is hysterical, but I do completely understand wanting to be like, you know, not age appropriate. Let her have her crowd, and not wanting interest in it.
If you click stuff on Google, you die.
Huh?
If you click stuff on your browser, you die.
Yeah.
Before it's used. So what do you think is going to happen in Europe? Is it actually going to happen? Is this the end on the 31st of October? Is that really the end? We all become e-citizens, internet citizens?
Yeah, I think it's
Are they going to pull the plug on Europe?
I think
I
so.
reckon they seriously might now.
Yeah.
I haven't said that before. First time I said that, like they are actually might pull the plug because they keep talking about a second referendum. What's the point?
Yeah. The tides have turned.
2 elections in a row now.
The
So I
t
don't think anyone's going to fall for that, even on the Remain side, and be like, oh, fuck that.
And you know what
So
the
what happens on a 1st October? They're not going to get enough. They're not. No one's going to even entertain a deal.
Yeah, no, not at all. What would be the reason to? Well, and I think
What are they up to?
well, I was going to say, you know, and I think this sort of plays into some of the things you about are we being played by Trump and this and that, you know, things have a natural ebb and flow and they go left and then they go right and then they go left. It's the pendulum swinging back and forth.
I
So
think
it's like
I think EU, all England are doing, they want the EU to collapse on their terms.
that would make sense. So instead of it seeming like they're leaving, it can be more like they're standing over the rubble.
Yeah, all they can do now is just pull a massive terror attack or mass false flags, but can't really see that doing much.
Oh,
Up in a
so,
cause.
that reminds me though. Have you seen Lauren Southern's documentary?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that good.
I don't know. I liked
I didn't
it.
think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good as what everyone's making out.
Well, see, it was I will say it got overhyped because of it being censored and stuff like that. But so I
A
completely
lot of money onto that project, a lot of Wonga.
yeah.
I didn't really see anything that was like that, great.
Well, let me tell you, I assume part of that is I assume
It wasn't bad.
yeah, I was gonna say I assume a good chunk of that was probably paying smugglers and sources and things like that because let me tell you, people on the black market don't do things for free. They're like, you know, if you're think about it, if you're making like 2,000 euros smuggling, you know, teenage boys into Europe, and some journalist says, "I want to talk to you and get your story," it's like, no, what do you got to offer me? So you better be like, give me 10,000 euro and we can have a conversation. But you're bringing heat and danger onto my business, so you better make it worthwhile. So that's just my guess.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of good. Yeah,
but
yeah, it's very dragged out.
yeah, that I agree with too. There was one part where I thought it was over, and then it like went on for like another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that should have been like a 25-minute documentary. It would have been so hard hitting.
But
it's good, but had just.
But the thing,
like a lot of fillers.
Yeah, the thing is though, is it really helps make you aware of like the true reality of the situation and how bad some of the stuff is, and it's like more than a terrorist attack. Like the only way I think they could salvage the European Union is saying we need a European military to, you know, basically banish the refugees, like in an attempt to deal with that. Like
I think a lot of them might start going. I don't know. Maybe they might start going back.
Maybe because I was surprised with the amount of people in those videos that were like, it was a mistake leaving.
That's another good bit that was good.
Yeah. These people that are just sort of like stuck in limbo now, where they're like, I'm living in a tent city and all this other stuff. And I'll tell you though, it's crazy. Like there are parts of it where it's showing parts of Greece and everything like that. And I'm like, look, Europe is now Africa. Like that's just what I mean. It's same thing if you look at LA though nowadays, where you'll just see lines and lines and lines of tents, and it's like, with this liberal we are the world shit is turning everything into a third world country.
Well, this really might be a turning point because you might see all this liberalism, all this accepting genders. It's not just Brexit. I think this is a giant just rejection.
Yeah, it is.
it's going back to nationally self-identity and sovereignty, and I really
And
don't
reality. That's my big, like, that's what I feel is like the biggest thing with me is like it's a matter of arguing reality against these people.
know what.
Where it's like, again, think of the things they say. There's no difference between man and woman, but we need a female president because she'd be different. What? See, CO2 is needed for the plants, but if there's too much CO2, it's going to kill the plants. Like, none of the things they say are even coherent within their own self-contained statements. So then when you have these people believing all of these things...
so hard as well at work. I get mocked so hard. And then you just ask basic questions and they've got nothing.
Nothing, because it's all just indoctrination. They're programmed. That's the way I've always looked at it. They're programmed, and the programming only goes as far as the programming. There's nothing beyond that. It's like you're playing a video game that has 10 levels, and you're wondering where the 11th level is. It wasn't programmed to be there, so there's nothing there. It's really what's happening with these people. Like, they just don't...
I can't really talk about work, but... The workplace is horrifying. I'm surrounded by ladies and constantly asking me for help for like how to log into this, how to log into that, where's this program. So like basic stuff.
Yeah.
Constantly helping them. And then the thing with the WikiLeaks, I said, have you heard of WikiLeaks? She's going, why are you saying I'm stupid? And I'm like, hey, can you calm down? Because I never called you stupid. And if you shout I'm calling you stupid, it looks really bad on me. And never like... said you were stupid, and she, can you implying I'm stupid? I'm like, okay, this conversation has to end now.
Yeah.
Because like, you can't say I insulted you when I clearly did not insult you. That's really bad. Can't lie about me and make me look evil. So I'm gonna go do my work. And then she goes, can you help me with this? And it's like, I'm sorry, no, I can't. Like, and I've shown you this every single day now for 3 weeks.
Well, and you know what's crazy is this
at work. The other thing at work is people are actually lying down asleep on the floor.
Well, I was going to say that's insane. But I was going to say is, you know,
guess what?
This is what we are now seeing articles about, and I mean some of it was like the post Me Too stuff, but some of it's just this institutional power in general of a woman complaining where I've seen headlines. Men are refusing to help women at work because they don't want to be accused of mansplaining or, you know, any of this other liberal paranoia nonsense where it's just, like you said, it's better to just be like, I'm just going to go do my work in my little corner and not pay attention to any of you because it's safer for me who just wants to get a check and go home and smoke and chill. Like, it's just, it's engaging with them is not worth it.
Yeah, because it explains quick. They'll talk about politics, and then you just give your opinion very quickly. It's like, why do you always have to talk about politics for?
Yeah.
It's like, do you guys start this like?
Yeah.
So and I just say, oh, sorry, I've got an opinion. Sorry, I forgot it's an occult. It's my mistake. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is. It's actually, you know what I saw? I was gonna do a quick little video on this for the channel because it was the most, I mean, mind-blowing. You know how sometimes you can have a preconceived notion like social justice is like a pseudo-religion and it's cult-like, but then you see something that is just like, I mean, just confirmation like you couldn't even believe. So I'm watching this video by Barely Informed Alad, who's one of my favorite YouTubers because he just goes out to these events and asks them all very basic questions. And the amount of heat he gets for someone who doesn't ask charged questions or loaded questions. He's just like, hey, what are you doing today? How do you feel about this? What do you hope to accomplish today? I mean, milquetoast beyond any, you know, stretch of the imagination. So anyway, he's at this museum for a pro-Palestine protest or whatever. So this one guy in the group goes and he's like, you know, you got to get out of here, whatever. So then he yells to the crowd and they engage in this church-like call and response where he's like, this guy is a right-wing blogger. And the whole crowd goes, this guy is a right-wing blogger. We have notified security. We have notified security. They will be coming to remove him. They will be coming to remove. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is like when I'm at church and they, have these sections where it's like the priest said something and everyone responds,
Yeah, and there's no debate on it. There's no argument. There's no conflict and debate that's still not resolved. It's always scientists said, so that's it. It's like with the ADHD. It's like, are you sure about ADHD? No, science said it's a real thing. Like, you don't think they're overdiagnosing like 90.
Well, did you see the new thing they got added as a mental disorder this week? Gaming disorder. Which is hysterical because now it's like, okay, so what are we going to give gamers like disability checks and let them sit home and be, have their disorder?
That was on the Drudge Report. They had 2 news articles from the UK. One of them was like, young people don't feel like they can get jobs or earn any money. And then the next one was Great Britain needs to do a 9-hour working week for climate change.
Wow. Because what, they think working any more than that is gonna off-put CO2?
No, sorry, the first article, I got it wrong. First article said young people are in fear they won't be able to get jobs because of climate change. And the next article was UK should consider a 9-hour working week to get CO2 down to 0.
Wow.
Yeah, when I'm reading the UK, they're actually doing it. They want to get the CO2 level down to 0.
Yeah, kill the planet. That is the logical outcome of that. And that's where I'm looking at these people like, do you know what you're saying? Like, do you really grasp this? Like, because it's a very simple thing.
A lot of them don't. I hate to tell you.
No, they don't. They don't. And you know what the thing is that, and I was trying to explain this to my mom today because I was like, I don't want to engage with your friend anymore. I said, because there's no way for me to be nice in explaining such simple concepts. Like, I don't know how to do it and not sound condescending, because whatever I say, she's not going to want to hear or accept. I said, it's basically the Nigerian prince scam. I said it's the big lie thing that Hitler talked about. She's being conned, and she won't admit that she is being conned because no one wants to admit that they're a sucker. So when I come out and I'm like, so CO2, huh? The thing the plants need is killing the earth? And they're just going to be...
What about carbon monoxide, Jamie?
Well, and that's the thing. Things that could actually be harmful, they don't even discuss. They're not even, and then I'm telling this to my mom, and my mom's going, well, the sea levels are rising. And it's like, no, they're not. And my mom goes, well, the hole in the ozone layer. I said, what about it? They haven't talked about that since the 90s. Where have you been? Oh, and where was that acid rain from the 80s that we were due to all,
Global cooling.
Well, yeah, and a friend of mine even brought that up. He said, wasn't there global cooling before global warming? I said, yeah, Mom, and even you should question why they don't use global warming anymore, because it wasn't warming.
It's on pause.
That's why it's climate. Yeah, it's the pause. Like, it's like, come on. How many times does this have to be wrong? But it's like they say about the doomsday cults. The more they're wrong, the more invested people are in it because they can't admit they've been conned. So it's like, I'm not going to be the one to take all that flack in trying to deprogram people. Whatever helps them sleep better at night, you want to think nationalism and patriotism are opposites? Go for it. But when you don't win elections and you think the world is all gloom and doom, don't bring your misery my way because I'm having fun. Like, and that's all there is to it. Like, and that was the thing where I was telling my mom, I said, I don't take this stuff seriously. And my mom's like, what do you mean you don't take it serious? I said, what? There's a bad leader in the Philippines? Fuck the Philippines. What? You think the CO2 is ending the world? Fuck it. Plant more plants. Like, what do you want me to care about? Fuck, who cares?
So like, I told all my friends at work, right? I said, they all talk about making money on the side and all that stuff. I said, this like a week ago, I said, why don't you buy some Bitcoin? Because Farage is going to win. You can see it spread across Europe. Venezuela is going to be using Bitcoin. And you've got a bank holiday coming up. And whenever there's a bank holiday, Bitcoin does well anyway, because it's a holiday. And now you've got all this mess coming through Europe. You would easily make $1,000 in a week. Easy. And they're like, oh, Bitcoin's so dumb, Bitcoin's so stupid, Bitcoin's so dumb. Headlines today. Bitcoin price skyrockets to all-time high. 130 million shorts liquidation may have been supercharged Bitcoin price to 9,000. Analysts foresee Bitcoin surging to 10 grand without a pullback. So like, I don't get any apology. So when I go into work today, they
No, not at all.
For Farage to win. Impossible.
Yeah. It's the Nigerian prince scam. They can't admit they've been conned.
Yeah, you ain't getting a point to go, bloody hell, Paul, how did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, and
It's
that's...
like, all believes in weird things like Bitcoin. It's like, you could have made $1,000 if you just listened. Jamie, would I tell you to put $1,000 on Bitcoin? And yes, I was pretty damn fucking confident.
No, I know that. And honestly, like, anytime we've talked about Bitcoin, like, as much as I've just been reluctant towards the whole thing in general,
it's an easy trend to follow.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, and I am, just saying that just because I don't have a perfect memory, but it very well might be 10 out of 10. You're correct in any time you have spoke about Bitcoin. Like, I think we've had disagreements about it in general, but as far as
to put money in, it's like,
yeah, as far as identifying the trends, you've always been spot on.
Yeah, and they're always lecturing me about how good they are at markets. And I'm like, and then one of my mates, he goes, he's quite young. He's going, I lost $3,000 on Bitcoin. I was like, where did you get? Well, I want to say, where did you get fucking $3,000 from you? But I said, how did you do that? And he'll go, oh, I do this stocks and I'll do it. I was like, no, hang on. What about Bitcoin? And he was going, oh, well, I brought in when it was going up and then I sold before it was low. I was like, yeah, when did you buy it? He's like, oh, I can't remember. But you can't remember losing $3,000? He's like, no, not really. So you're talking shit, man.
Or what it is
like, where did you buy the Bitcoin from? He's like, what? Where'd you get them? He's like, I can't remember.
See, you know what I would bet it is I'd bet it's... I'd bet...
You gotta be a muppet to lose $3,000 on Bitcoin. You gotta be a muppet.
Yeah. Well, the thing I was going to say is I would bet what it actually is, and he probably isn't comfortable revealing this, is he probably bought in, made $3,000, and then like sold it before it could have went higher, and is viewing that as a loss, or something where it's like he made a bad move, and or he bought in when it was going up, then when it started dropping he sold it off and then lost $3,000 that way. But I don't think he probably just doesn't know when to buy and sell, and is viewing a profit loss, an amount that he made and then lost, instead of, I don't think he put $3,000 in and lost that. You know what I mean?
It's just the way things I can say something and they can laugh at it, and then within days it happens.
Yeah.
I say something else, they'll still laugh at it. Like I said, May's going to resign. I said that on Wednesday, and they're like, oh, she's not. No, she's not. I was like, she's going to be gone for Friday. She's going to have to stay because Trump's coming. And they're like, oh, Trump's not even coming to London. It's like, Trump's coming next week, you moron. How can we not have a prime minister to greet Trump? I mean, come on. So she's going to retire on Friday. And she's just going to stay on until the Trump stuff's done.
Yeah.
And then God knows what's going to happen. Like,
I mean, it's... And that's, again, it's the fact of them being conned, where it's like, it doesn't matter how many times the climate alarmists are wrong, and how many times we're right. We're always going to be wrong, and they're always going to be right. And,
because of science.
Yeah, or because of science, or just because of the sort of institutional wall of sound.
It's the way they just, you can't judge. They always go, you can't judge people. So we do no work. There's obviously no work going on. So I read non-stop. I'm on Drudge Report a lot. I'm at work. So there's only certain sites I can go on. I'm always reading like the Sun newspaper, which is a trash newspaper, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph. And then they going, why do you believe the Sun? Why are you reading the Sun? It's a joke. I was like, who said I believed a word of it?
Yeah.
Can I not read the Sun without you thinking? It's like, look, Paul reading the Sun, he believes. Why do you believe you can't believe what's in the papers.
Well, and that
When have I ever said you should pay attention? Like, if you're not listening to anything I've ever said,
yeah,
I read it to see what they're up to, what they're trying to, what agendas they're
what
trying
they're pushing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's
And
the
I'm also trying to find Bilderberg.
yeah.
That's how much no one knows where Bilderberg is, so I'm trolling every single newspaper for a clue.
You know,
Because I imagine there's a big reward if someone actually finds his location.
I almost
It's getting to the point where I'm tempted to start phoning hotels, trying to book a room.
I almost wonder though if at some point
It's already happened.
well, have you ever seen the movie The Kingsman?
Not yet.
There's a part in that movie where they have this sort of, it's like a secret society spy type thing, but they have these meetings of all the agents where they're all putting on glasses that basically show the holograms of the other.
I said that before. Why don't they do online conference?
Yeah, and that's what I think it's going to be. I think there's too much heat on it, and they'll just
they've had that available to them for a very long time. The idea it's in secret is mockery, because it's the opposite of secrecy. It's in your fucking face.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
That's what I think Bilderberg is. I don't think they are secret. I think they're mocking people that want to stop it by and they sort of indulge in the hysteria.
Yeah.
And enigma of it all. But yeah, where is Bilderberg? And that's why I'm trolling the newspapers. And they're like, why you just get all your information from the media? It's like, no. I'm at work. I can't go on flipping Breitbart, can I?
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things though that bothers me so much. Like when I considered myself on the left, like, I mean, even at that point, I wanted to learn as much as I could about Hitler because I knew he was a bad guy and I wanted to understand evil. I have books about serial killers. Like it's like you have to understand how evil actually operates to make sure you're not being evil. It's pretty basic, because if you're just acting out of personal and selfish impulses, well, chances are you're going to end up in an evil manner. But like the idea of these quote unquote liberals, like the fact that, like, I look at, when they're complaining we need more gayness in Avengers and we need, representation in this, and we can only be interviewed by the sources that agree with us, and this and that. It's like all it does to me is advertise the frailty of their worldview. And it's because it's a worldview that's not based in reality. Like the fact that I have someone writing me saying Russian collusion is not a hoax, this and that. It's like, what is your evidence? Like they've been saying this for years, just beating this drum.
They're going to throw that at the European election as well.
Oh, I'm sure they'll say Russia subverted the fucking whatever. Like it's insane, and it's like just it's again why you just laugh at them or disengage, because other than
Honestly,
that,
if you read anything like Sky News, BBC News, are all ignoring Nigel Farage, and they're all saying if you look at the Brexit Party, they got like 35%, but if all the 5 other Remain parties got together, they would have won.
Yeah.
And it's like they weren't organised, they didn't have enough time. It's like Farage had 5 weeks, guys.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen with the left and Trump over here is you have all of these Democrat candidates that are going to be
no one's actually swallowed that Trump is president for the next 4 years.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like you have all of these Democrat candidates that are all going to just rip each other to shreds.
There's no point even. I don't think they'll even bother.
Yeah, no, because here's the thing. You're right. If the left was smart, if the left was really, really smart, they would sit this one out. Because
you normally get a 2-term election.
And And the damage, the irreparable damage it is going to cause to that party to have 20 some odd candidates all trying to take each other's heads off, there's not going to be anyone left standing over there by the end of it. Like, I mean, at least the last time around, you just had Bernie and Hillary. And even Bernie got screwed over by Hillary. You mean Joe Biden? Oh, Joe Rogan. Who, Buttigieg or Kamala Harris or Tulsi Gabbard? Is that who? Let me tell you, Tulsi Gabbard, if there was someone who could make me vote Democrat again, it's her. She I support. But that's because she is staunchly anti-war. She is a liberal, and it's because she's on Hawaii. Like, she's in her own little world. Like, and she thinks the rest of the shit is stupid. So, I mean, her, I support. But now, here's the thing. People are pointing this out. You have all of these things like Now This and all these little, you know, Facebook video propaganda machines that are making videos about the election and being like, the Democrat candidates, and we have women and women. But they're not including Tulsi Gabbard because she isn't part of this establishment socialist.
I've never even heard of her until Joe Rogan.
No, I've heard of her for a while because she has always been like, we should be talking to Assad, we should try to make peace, we shouldn't be invading over here, and we should negotiate. Like, in that regard, she is very much like Trump, where she's not trying to be friends with the bad guys, but she's not trying to bomb them into oblivion either. Like, she's just trying to be like, how can we not be involved and help them work out whatever their situations are?
Joe Rogan had Hillary Clinton on as well.
No.
You not seen that?
No.
Oh no, hang on, it was Eddie Izzard. Sorry, it was Eddie Izzard.
Oh. Yeah, no, her I've always really liked. And like I said, I find it very interesting that all of these pro-leftist women pieces that are coming out, she is suspiciously missing from all of them. But it's because she's not in you know, that same sort of mindset as the rest of them.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's going to happen now because it seems a bit weird that Trump's got the open field now.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
what's going to happen in Europe. I honestly think it's gone now.
Yeah, like I said,
too unstable.
the left should sit it out. The left should sit it out. They're gonna, they will just.
Even when I said, even people, I shouldn't slag people off. Yeah, work's really getting to me because we don't do anything. It's bad.
Yeah.
When there's no structure or rules at work, you don't know what's acceptable and what's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit dodgy talking about on YouTube.
Yeah. But anyway, I should get going. I got stuff to take care of around the house, and I'm overheating, having my fan off for an hour and a half.
What do you think will happen on the 31st then?
Halloween for I think Brexit's done. I think you guys are leaving, and like you said, you might already have left. It might just be figuring out the details, but I think the whole European Union is collapsing. And I do agree with what you were saying, is I think Britain just wants to pull out on their terms and have the upper hand because that's how they've always played it. Crafty little island, them Brits.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
All right, we'll take care, man. We'll catch up next week.
In a bit, man.
All right.
Yeah, stop the email stuff, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm telling you though, that's why I had a long thing, and I just instead was like, I'm not gonna send this. Here's a dictionary definition. This is ridiculous. Like, it's not worth the energy.
Yeah.
So, same thing with you at work. Don't engage with these people, and we'll be all right.
I'm not going to anymore. Yeah.
All right.
Good advice. Right.
I'll talk to you later, man. All right. Bye.
Bye.